Hey, we're back. What's good? Lots of new products launching this morning. Oh my God, it is raining Bitcoin utility tokens.
Hey, what is it today? Is today like some special day or something? What the heck's going on, man? It's one of these
Wednesday? Crazy. Is that like the day to release products? I think so. I think last week is when didn't Counterparty 2.0 go live on a Wednesday as well?
Yeah.
It's
Counterparty stuff going on, bro. Those telegrams are blowing up, man.
Yeah, we'll cover that as well. Counterparty's going through some struggles in terms of development, but also has some success as well. Some of the community members, putting the team on their back and not waiting for the devs and experimenting. But first and foremost, Chris, how are we feeling this morning?
What's good? Good, man. A ton in the market. It feels like, man, I don't know if we can say this, but it feels like we're kind of on our way to getting back. I saw Coinbase's partnership with NBA. Seems like mainstream advertising is starting to kick in. Feels like we're really kind of getting back to where we were like 3 years ago.
Thank you. God, dude. Thank God. Yeah, Truth Terminal's also been taken off like crazy as well. AI meme coins are like the new meta.
Yeah.
Run away with it. That's our new AI agent overlords.
It's going to a Billy today. I mean, people are on the timeline. Yeah, it's I don't know, 750 million right now. It's bonkers, man.
Yeah. Congrats to one of my buddies. I don't know. He used to come on the show. His name was OX Busy. He'd been on the show a bunch of times as just a guest. I think his stacks up to like $10 million or something like that.
Wow.
Congrats to him.
Wow, man.
Yeah. He was like a former guy who used to come on here now. Now he's a meme coin millionaire, maybe deca millionaire here pretty soon. Getting right into things this morning. I saw a lot of attention surrounding the Bells coin community. There was 250,000 in donations, and 30,000 of that left the wallet to be sent somewhere. Does that mean that we're getting exchange?
Bro, I can't comment. It did go out.
It left.
Obviously, there's lots of speculation, but the rules around these things. Rules are the rules, right? It's like you just can't say anything. Obviously, it went out. That's for sure. But I really can't talk about what it is, but I mean, people are not stupid. They figure stuff out, you know, but you can't say anything. Right. And so, yeah, can't say anything about it, but it's exciting times for sure.
Yeah, Bell's coin's been on an absolute cook recently. It shot up to $1.80, I believe, maybe a little bit
I
above
think
it.
it might have even touched $2 there. Got darn close to $2 before all the. I mean, look, we still got how many days before the 5th of November?
We got like 12 days, maybe.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks now. And so that's going to be the halving, right? So these miners are still earning a couple $100K in bells per day, right? So they're, are they going to, I mean, this is where like traders get into it. And I don't know, I was on a space with Jack. He's like, oh, well, there's going to be a pump here and this and that. Right. I don't know, dude, how anybody knows anything, like you can guess. But, after that halving, the miners are going to have a whole lot less bells per day to dump. So what happens leading up to that? Are miners dumping right now, dumping into the kind of hype? I'm sure they are. But how it all works out long term, it's going to be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, I agree. We have to say maybe this is speculation, but I think part of the run up recently was due to our collaboration with Televault and the V-Bells launch, which has had some pretty large success and also some random things that have happened that always seems to occur anytime a product launch happens. Somebody utilizes it in a way that you never expect, for better or for worse. With V-Bells, we launched on Friday, so it still hasn't even been a week, and we have over $1 million in TVL that's made it. Pulling up here, Vaulted Bells coin is now on CoinGecko as well. Oh, it looks like it's fallen since the price has fallen. So 969,000 in market cap. The circulating supply, so 664,000 bells has been vaulted or televaulted, I should say.
That's like over 1% of what the total supply will be. I mean, it's way over 1% now, and it'll be over 1% at the last halving, which is like at 60 million total bells. So that's over 1% of the total supply. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Doing well. 500,000 of that was non-KYC who created their own bridge. This is something that we haven't seen before. Or they built like let me see if I can find it. They built basically a bridge of their own, which was kind of caught us by surprise. It's kind of interesting what happened here. So they vaulted a 500,000 K Bells coin vault, and then they opened up deposits for V-Bells. I personally thought that they were going to create a V-Bells Bell trading pair, kind of like what you see on exchanges where they do like USDT, USDC pairs, or they'll do like Bitcoin WBTC and things like that. But they did deposits. So essentially you can deposit V-Bell or bells onto non-KYC, and they will trade pretty much in the same capacity on just the bell charts. And then you have the option to withdraw either V-Bells or Bell. And you pay a much cheaper fee. So if you want to go acquire Bells coin or V-Bells, it seems like non-KYC might be the route to go for now. But with larger transactions, as the liquidity pool grows on Ethereum, the larger transactions, I would assume probably will move over to Uniswap, because there is a deposit or a withdrawal limit on non-KYC. So I think temporarily it's kind of like a cool band-aid. I think there's some partnerships and stuff that could be established there. Adam, what was your take on non-KYC so far?
I was completely surprised, right? When they vaulted that, I was like, it never, I don't even think we even considered it. It's really, really interesting. And, I don't know how many other exchanges have kind of done this with, bridged assets as a way for users to, easily go back and forth at like very, very little cost. And they leaned into it. And I was just like, wow, this is kind of genius, on their part. allowing, you know, Bell's holders to easily bridge back and forth between Bell's coin and ETH is just like, dang. Like, I don't know. Has this been done before? I don't know. But when it hit me, like, wow, what they were doing, I was just like, wow, this is pretty, this is smart, man.
I personally haven't seen something. Again, I thought that they were going to do the pair because then they actually make fees on the swapping between the pairs as well. But, you know, this is something a little bit new. As we progress, you know, and add new tokens or cryptocurrencies to Televault, you know, maybe this is a path for some of these other ones that have kind of lower liquidity profile that aren't, you know, in the hundreds of $1 million market cap, which we know Bells will get to, but right now it's still, I think it dropped down to what, like a $70 million market cap or something like that. But overall, I would say pretty large success for only being launched for 5 days now, having over 1 million in TVL. The thing that we do need to do, or that needs to happen, is that the liquidity pool definitely needs to grow a little bit higher. Right now it's at 34K. I believe Emblem is LPing a little bit more than half of that. And then there's another LPer. So we need to get some people on board to get that over, you know, maybe 60 or 70K so you could get these purchases. Anytime you purchase like $300 or $400, it moves it like 5 or 10%. So it's not sufficient for whale trading, which I know that's like the main reason why people want it there. I mean, you can also use Bells as collateral, which I think is something that the Televault team will have to pursue, is building these relationships with DeFi protocols like Aave and Aave and Compound for lending. You have to find some of the staking platforms, and then, you know, some of these other DeFi protocols to build a relationship to basically funnel these televaulted tokens over there for an automatic listing, because that's what most people want to do on DeFi, is you want to basically, you know, use it as collateral within this, you know, multi, you know, deca-billion-dollar industry that is DeFi on Ethereum. Excuse me. So we'll continue to follow along. We're actually going to have Graham on the show tomorrow. I think he has some alpha to drop tomorrow. At least this is what he tells us. And then maybe we could dive in with him tomorrow about some of the tokenomics, because there's actually going to be a token for Televault as well.
I'd love to hear kind of Chris's perspective on, you know, that it's on ETH and there doesn't seem to be much trading right now, but what's your kind of viewpoint on, like, you know, fungibles, bridge to other, you know, other chains, and the kind of how this kind of all plays out? Obviously, very few people know about it right now, but I think that's going to grow kind of quickly here. What's your feeling on it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, getting it into these DeFi protocols and just even getting it swappable like it is currently on ETH is incredible. And I mean, it's just such a new concept to get these proof of work coins on Ethereum on Uniswap. I mean, that's kind of crazy to imagine, and it's live. So I think it's going to take some, you know, a learning curve to get people involved, get the news out. But, you know, going with our strategy of starting with these smaller coins that are still developing in these communities, and then reaching out and growing into the Litecoins, the Bitcoins, everything else, the bigger proof of work coins. I think, you know, spreading awareness and getting those users in the door is going to be a lot easier. This is like such a big innovation. And, you know, you can see from the support from non-KYC, just coming out of the woodwork and offering that huge vault right from the start. So the traction's there, the interest is there. And I think from our side and Graham's side, I think that it was really an amazing launch. No hiccups, really. The product is live in the wild, and now it's out there to defend for itself. How are your thoughts on the initial launch, Adam?
Oh, I think it went, yeah,
it almost like went too good. It's like too quiet.
Well, like it couldn't, like literally, you know, yeah, just beyond to have that much TVL, you know, over $1 million in TVL.
I think we were shooting for like 50K in like that right? Like, isn't that
like, it literally is like 50K, and can we get 20K in?
I think some of it was ours. Yeah, exactly.
You know? So yeah, very yeah, really excited about it, and excited to see how it goes. You know, this is the type of thing when you give tools to people, they start doing crazy, weird stuff. And obviously that's what happened with non-KYC. They were like, oh, cool, we can use this as our bridge to ETH. And like, it blows you away. And that's happened multiple times with us now, obviously. And so I'm excited to just see where it goes, you know, what layers we get on top of this. So yeah, super excited.
For sure. And I mean, these proof of work coins, I really think the pendulum is just, you know, we always talk about that interest swinging from proof of stake to proof of work. And I think, you know, proof of work going into this, you know, upcoming year, I think it's going to make a strong comeback. So
very, very strong. Yeah, you got two pendulums swinging kind of simultaneously in the crypto space right now. You got the proof of work, proof of stake kind of thing, maybe even three, right? Ethereum, Solana, and then meme coins and utility tokens. Right now, it's really heavy Solana, meme coins, and I guess proof of stake, proof of work's kind of, it's a little bit heavy on the proof of stake, but it's coming way back faster to proof of work just because of the development of NFTs and DeFi on top of it. Final note here, I would say that, Chris, this is before you joined the team, but this was, I think we took the learnings from the horrific BRC20 launch that we had last year that had a ton of hype and just got no traction at all. And that was probably our worst product launch that we've had today since Adam and I joined the team. I think we took a lot of the key lessons from that, which was basically don't rely on just the social media hype. The social media hype will vastly outpace what the actual use case is for a new product. For a token launch, it's a little bit different. You want hype for people to ape tokens, but with a new product, the hype never really correlates to the amount of practicality or like use case for it. So you have to do a little bit more of the kind of business development on the back end and ensure, right, the LP setup. There's people who say they're going to commit, right? We had like maybe 5 to 10 people who said that they were going to LP, ended up being just Emblem and one other person, I think, or maybe 2 other people. And then you have to make sure, right, that the token gets listed on CoinGecko. You got to make sure that the tutorial videos are right. You got to make sure the community's, you know, actively engaged and going to participate. So there's a lot of layers to the product launch. So very successful all around. Bitcoin Ape, do you have something to say? Keep seeing your mic turn off. Nope. All right, cool. So outside of that, this morning woke up and there was 2 major product launches. And so I want to dive into both of them. I would say the much larger one is the hotly anticipated TAP token launch. So TAP, who's been on the show, TAP is operated by Track, right? Who's Benny and the squad who built the indexing for Bitmap, and they've built the indexing for who else did they do? Oh, the DMT guys, the block runner guys. We've had Ghosty Cash on the show, who is building on top of the TAP protocol. They raised this company TAP, which is there's 3. It's kind of a large ecosystem. The Track systems has 3 different protocols. They have Track, which is for indexing. They have TAP, which is their Bitcoin DeFi. And then they have something called Pipe, which they're calling AI fungible tokens. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's kind of what it says on their roadmap. TAP, it was originally based off of BRC20. So you could say it's a fork of BRC20 with its own modifications, where Pipe, which they haven't dove into yet, is a fork, quote unquote fork, of Runes that they made their own kind of adjustments to. So this TAP team, I believe, has raised close to $11 million or so over the past year. They have heavy backing from Jason Sora from Sora Ventures. You can see here, I have it here pulled up on the live stream, the amount of money that they've raised, the amount of tokens. It looks pretty standard from like a VC vesting schedule. It looks like, so 22% of the tokens went to the foundation. They sold about 28%, 10% in seed, 12.5% to private, and 7% to public. 6% of it is an airdrop. 10% to exchange and liquidity. That seems to be standard now. I'm sure as Adam has explained, these exchanges are very expensive to list on. 15% for DeFi incentives that they're calling OrdFi and stacking. 13% to the team and 4% to the advisors. The 3 private rounds that they raised at is 16 million or 17 million in the seed round, 25 million FDV for the private, and then the people who bought off of the public is 75 million.
Oof.
Yeah. And so this is just another graphic here. So basically, who got the airdrop? So 17,000 wallets got an airdrop, 6,000 to track holders, 4,500 to pipe holders, 600 participants in the validators. Adam, weren't you somebody who tried to buy one of these validators?
I was going to, but I couldn't get it. Like,
it was like sold out or whatever.
It was more like you had to organize it. You get to get on the list and blah, blah, blah.
He was over it. So 600 to the validator, people who bought validators, 200 to a squirrel loot campaign. I don't know what that is. And then 5,700 people who bought at a $75 million market cap for public. The 3 kind of utility or use cases here is, so what does the TAP token do? It reduces fees on the marketplace and swap, increase fee capture after providing liquidity on the swap, and total waiver of fees when bridging between assets from TAP and Ethereum and back and forth. So what does it do? It's a discount token, essentially. It's a discount and an incentive token. That seems to be where most of these utility tokens are. At least that's kind of the easiest thing through the door. People who hold this, you discount all the things within the ecosystem, and then they're incentivizing people to participate in LPing on both the TAP protocol, and they have a bridge to Ethereum. And so you get a little bit more of the fee there. They have something called Taparoo Swap, which I'm pulling up here on the live stream. This is their bridge between Ethereum and TAP. And so they have 2 different swaps that are set up on TAP and on Uniswap on Ethereum to go back and forth. So pretty cool. Benny also was, if you knew Benny's background, he started on Ethereum, went to Bitcoin. He actually tried to build a bridge of ordinals to Ethereum. Didn't work well. He also used to shit on Emblem Vault about doing it, and then he ended up doing it himself. So I actually looked, and those tweets are actually still there as well.
Oh, you got to copy, you got to grab them to the the Dropbox, man.
It always happens, dude. People shit on Emblem Vault, and then they end up doing the same thing later. It's literally has happened 5 or 6 times now at this point. Which maybe we'll get into on the next portion as well. But Benny's a cool guy. You can't hold grudges. Everyone comes around in terms of bridging. And so the token is live. I saw that they actually had a pretty solid execution in terms of how they went about this today. Definitely taking notes on some of this. So the airdrop began this morning, looks like about 3.5 hours ago. They had it listed on like 4 different exchanges simultaneously. Let me see if I can find this on here. So it was listed on Gate, MXC, and KuCoin. And then they also had their Uniswap pool set up. And then they have if you're on trading on ETH, they have the Uniswap pool. And then they have the or TAP LP set up. So you could trade on basically 5 different places.
Wow.
But, yeah.
That's impressive.
It's smart, right? That's what you want to do on a TGE. You want to introduce as much liquidity as possible, because that sends it into price discovery, and it will, allow it to, pump essentially, right? Get pretty high. I'm trying to see if I could find one of these listings to see, what the price of this is. I saw it shot up from like $3 to $10 at some point this morning, but you just don't know what the circulating supply is. It's one of these high FDV, low float tokens. I don't know for sure, but this is kind of what it looks like, at least, because a lot of the tokens that were a lot of the tokens that were purchased, the 30% that was purchased in the pre-sale all has like a 12 to 48 month lockup. So
Right.
you're saying, you know, maybe 20 or 30% of this is circulating, if that. Tough to know for sure, but
I'm sure they have a market maker who's encouraging the price higher. Right. I mean, this is what we've seen the last. Well, I guess there was that kind of investigation thing where they took down some market makers, but you know, this is like it's crazy. But a lot of these exchanges like insist, you know, that they want volume high, and you know, there's all these kind of weird behind the scenes stuff that goes on with this stuff. It's crazy.
I can't go on Gate here in a second because I'm a US person. You know, outside of the successful launch, which it looks like, it did say it was at $7, but again, still don't know what the market cap is. I guess what does this mean for the, you know, the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? This is a direct competitor to Runes per se. It's a competitor to, you know, the bridging protocols, but it's its own ecosystem, right? They have DMT community, which is a pretty large community, not pretty large, but it's an existing community. They have the tap community, they have the track community, and they have the pipe community, and the bitmap community is also a part of it as well, right? But I guess the first thing here is they're heavily leaning into trading. And so now they're going to be directly competing with Runes. And so the question is, you know, can they pull away some of that liquidity from Runes? And also you have the fractal kind of ecosystem as well, which is also kind of bifurcating it. So now you have kind of three different ones. BRC20's moved to Fractal. You have Runes that's on Bitcoin mainnet. And then you have Tap, which is on Bitcoin mainnet and Ethereum. You know, does it, I'll present this to Chris. Do you think Tap will be able to onboard new liquidity to Bitcoin and the ecosystem? Or do you think it's going to be more PvP and they're competing for the existing liquidity that's participating on Runes and Fractal?
I mean, I like the guys over there. It's a bit confusing, to be honest. And I don't know if they'll be able to get the attention that they need. I mean, you know, Runes is very good for what it is so far. You know, it had kind of a rocky start, but they have a really strong community. They took care of the social aspect, the social layer. And I think that goes a long way in this industry, especially if you're shooting for like a first mover type advantage. So, I mean, I'm interested to see. I think that there's a lot of innovation, but I think that I think Runes kind of stole the show at the moment. I think it's going to be hard to kind of close that gap. You know, What are your thoughts?
Totally. The attention game, I think they suck at it. I think their messaging sucks. You know, I mean, there are people working. Like I see community themselves, and obviously they partner with some influencers who kind of are able to tell better stories than kind of their core team. But still, the core team hasn't been able to, in my view, just from what I see on the timeline, this is just my view of what I see. The team hasn't been able to sell a compelling vision. That's my view right now. That could change, right? But usually that comes from a founder or somebody on the team who can kind of paint a picture of what I'm supposed to be like paying attention to. And other than a couple of people who I know and, you know, we're friends with and stuff who kind of tell me about DMT and this and that and are excited about that little sliver, I don't catch a vision here where I am compelled to go use it. You know, I don't feel that.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I found one of the posts. I'll just throw it here for
nice.
For provenance, just to kind of show, you know, we don't hold any grudges.
We don't hold grudges, but we take notes, bro.
I always take notes. I mean, that's the majority of people, right? It says the NFT flipper uses paid trustful ordinal subscription services, gives Emblem Vault his wallet keys, dumps on the most centralized NFT marketplaces. OpenSea refuses to use trustless trading on BTC. And then it's the meme of, you know, like the dumb, you know, the like 80 IQ person with a plug that's just
itself.
That's plugged into itself. Yeah. You know, it's just what it is.
Got the receipts.
Always got the receipts. Yeah. I think there was like another one. Yeah. Right.
Taking shots though. That's funny.
Yeah. You know, this is February 2023. So this was, you know, like a month or two into ordinals existing, and he was competing against us for, or trying to, for bridging ordinals to Ethereum. I mean, the cool part is, you know, it's come full circle, and now he's actually built his own ecosystem that bridges to Ethereum, right? So instead of taking ordinals, he could just take all the TAP assets to Ethereum, and he gets to do it in his own way. So, you know, props to him, because you actually thought through.
I would give him a ton of credit, because like you saw that tweet right there, it had 200 views or something like that. He maybe wasn't able to convince retail, but he convinced investors somehow.
Yeah.
Like he sold some fucking story to them, which was compelling as fuck. Like he did. That's amazing. So congrats to him on being able to do that, because that is not easy at all. And he got that done, man. So, you know, hat tip to that for sure.
What's good, Dogfather? What are your thoughts on TAP and the launch of it today?
GM, yeah, I mean, TAP is like a big story, in my opinion. I mean, if you can attract that much money, you can also attract the talent, because, you know, they want to get paid. On the marketing side, I fully agree with Adam. They didn't really perform as well on that side. I just heard from a few people that they will completely restart that and restaff it. So I guess that will change pretty soon. So I expect to see more from their side on the timeline, and they have to. I mean, honestly, you can build, you can raise money, but I mean, if you don't have the eyeballs and the users, you're not getting anywhere. And the question, Runes versus TAP, I think they have a different approach. I mean, Runes is mainly meme tokens. They're just a few utility projects like, you know, Liquidium and the Trio and stuff like that. But I would say most of the market cap is memes. I'm not sure whether the stuff that's built on TAP is so much on the meme side. So I think it's rather a good complement to the Runes ecosystem. But let's see. I mean, they have definitely, I think they have 10 years to go until everything is kind of built out what they plan. And let's see how much market traction they see.
Dude, when are they gonna hire you, man? You could like lead this charge, bro. Create some good infographics, tell people why the hell they want to be on TAP, dude. Why haven't they contacted you, dude?
Maybe they contacted me already.
Yeah. Bro, I'm bullish TAP now. I'm bullish TAP.
Bro, I mean, bro, it's a German gang, right? I mean,
I know,
so of course, you know each other, and yeah, I mean, I see lots of potential, and you know, they have the money, they have the tech, they have definitely a very talented dev team. They have these, you know, very good, I don't know, talent to attract money. And I think the rest is just execution. Honestly, it's really just execution, finding the best people to get the eyeballs on that project, and then doing a few more smart strategic decisions on how to roll out and how to use the infrastructure. And then, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, you do have a good point that Runes are mostly meme coins, and the utility tokens on Runes so far have not performed well. You know, that doesn't mean that they won't forever, but right now it's very meme coin dominated. When you do look at the TAP tokens, you have Ghosty Cash, which is building an L2 and they're a cross-chain swap platform. You have Traverse, which is like a vault storage kind of platform that has a token there. I think there's a few other ones as well. Obviously, you have the DMT guys as well, which is kind of, I don't know if you call it meme coins or you just call it kind of gamification of block data. So there's, yeah, it definitely has a lot more of a, you know, a focus than just speculation. Like there's a lot of utility.
I think that's a good point. And I think, you know, you have to pay attention to where like that natural kind of user base is growing and that natural kind of speculation. And I think that's like a big differentiating factor in the two of them, is that the natural speculation is happening on Runes and there's almost no like natural attention going to TAP. And so I think that gap is going to widen as the wealth effect kind of widens within those two ecosystems. So I think that that's like a really important point, actually, that most people, just even for quote unquote meme coins, are choosing to go to Runes. That means just users are choosing to go to Runes. I think that's a huge advantage. The
wealth effect is real, right? I think you really, obviously people got rich off of the layer ones, right? Off of Bitcoin, if you mined it early, or Ethereum, if you did the ICO or bought early. But on the secondary layer, it really started through like the DeFi kind of ecosystem, DeFi summer, right? All those founders who got wealthy put it all back into kind of the DeFi ecosystem. all the NFT people who got rich kind of all put it back into the NFT ecosystem on Ethereum, where they're still kind of bag holding and trying to figure out what's going on. Right. With ordinals, you see a lot of the ordinal people kind of just moved over to Runes because it's the same founder. And so that wealth effect is shared between those two. So if you're right, if Tap can figure out how to, create a wealth effect, then it'll kind of funnel back into it. So good point. Outside of that, speaking on Runes, there was a second product launch that happened today, Satflow, which is created by Robert and I forget the other two guys' names, who previously created Ordinals Market that was built on top of Emblem Vault back in February. Speaking on going back to that, maybe we'll cover that in a second, but they raised, I think, $8.5 million backed by Variant Fund. I think Coinbase was on there. They got some like Farmer Joe and Domo were backing it as an angel. I think Dan held. So Satflow was they had a private, and I think they were maybe the first or one of the first to create sniping tools, but it was private, and they held it in secrecy for a long time, maybe because they were building this and they were attracting investors to kind of their private tool. But today they came out with a few punches, which I'd love to cover here. So full sniping protection. So they probably caught wind and they've been monitoring Magic Eden, who had released yesterday. Literally yesterday, Rex, who's one of the co-founders of Magic Eden, released publicly the information of how the snipe protection works. And literally the next day, Satflow launches with full snipe protection, 0 trading fees as well. And then the Flux claim, which is their rune, which they etched, I think, in like number 12 or something like that. One of the top 15 somewhere. And then they claim sniping is dead. And even though they were the ones that created it, right? Like what a perfect kind of, full loop there. Very brilliant, I have to say.
Great pivot. Wow.
Right, they're the ones that created it, and then they basically put the Band-Aid on it.
We created it, virus, and then we create the cure for the virus.
Like that bicycle meme with the stick in the wheel. Like,
exactly.
Perfect fix for it.
Dude, brilliant. I mean, now they're going to be competing against Magic Eden, but right. So they basically created it in private. Like I think towards the end of last year is really when he started diving into it. I remember at Ord Denver, when I threw Ord Denver with Omnisat team, he showed me the tool on his phone. And that was in February. It was literally 8 months ago. So they've been doing it for quite a while. Right, created the sniping phenomenon, raised $8 million, then provided the Band-Aid for it. World-class flow.
Isn't this, I mean, it's very similar to, what was the guy we had on like a week ago, right? Who wasn't he doing some sort of snipe protection as well?
There's a few people who've been trying to do it. Yeah. Very difficult to do. It requires a lot of resources. I forgot who was that. I forget who it was.
Their Ordinal show yesterday too.
Oh, the Mintify. Evan?
Mintify. Yeah.
Evan?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're really come from Magic Eden. They literally in the thread directly puts Satflow against Magic Eden, which is, cool. I mean, just shows kind of really their competition. So they showed they have 0% marketplace fees. I wonder if that's like permanent or if that's just temporary because they have a lot of funding. You could sweep up to 50 transactions, unlimited bids. This is at Magic Eden. You can only put one. Buy sell cancellation. Yes. Says on Magic Eden you can't. Real-time mempool data, yes. Magic Eden says no. And then bulk ordinal bids, yes. And there it says no. And it says it has multi-wallet support, which Magic Eden does not. 0% trading fees. And then I'm going to go to the website here.
What does that mean, multi-wallet support? What does that mean?
I'm guessing it's like they support Unisat and Xverse and some of these kind of other ones. Let me log in real quick.
Doesn't Magic Eden sports Xverse leather? Isn't that multi-wallet? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that is actually. I don't know then. Maybe it's like they support multiple types would be my guess. Why is this not kind of signing in here? Cool. So I'm going to show you the website. It looks really good, I have to be honest. And they've done a really good job at it. So they got the points thing, right? Flux rewards. This is kind of standard here.
Go get your rewards, bro. How much you gonna get?
Right. Let's see.
I wonder how they're calculating this.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I don't have that much trading on this wallet that I have here. Nothing. It's questions, right? That's kind of how I guess it works.
Oh, they're not even going to tell you. You just got to sign in and then hope down the road. Interesting. Okay.
So the interface is slick, right? So they have the notifications. It has, you know, kind of your history of trading. They have the rewards tab, which is the Flux stuff, your portfolio, and then ordinals and runes. And they're calling it like a mempool marketplace, which I remember LIFO, who has Rune Blaster, I think had talked about that. Also Magisat, I think, was the first to do that. So they have an ordinals trading where you could see, and then they have the live mempool. I thought this is pretty cool. It actually shows you which assets are in the mempool currently, because you could probably click on it and try to snipe it, would be my guess. Even though, because you have to turn on snipe protection for that to be protected. It shows the amount of BTC, and then they also have runes here. So it shows here there's 0.77 BTC in runes that are currently in the mempool. Then it shows you here the floor and trending. It's really good. And they literally have this directly on their website, right? The comparison between Satflow and Magic Eden. I actually remember, so when that team built Ordinals Market on top of Emblem Vault, their whole thing was that Magic Eden was going to take over the market. Right. And so, you know, I don't go into some of the conversations because I disagree with a lot of things that they said and that they did during that process. But the one thing's for sure is that they're still continuing on this Magic Eden tirade, even a year and a half later. And the reason I say that is because it's literally directly on their website of them comparing it to Magic Eden. So they've really been just like Benny, a year and a half of competing, you know, for the bridge. Here, they've been a year and a half competing against Magic Eden. And, you know, maybe this does have some legs. It depends if the traders adopt it, I think is really the kind of thing here. But they do have some big backers, right? Variant, Coinbase. I don't know who Robot Ventures is. Asymmetric is Dan Held, I believe.
Yep.
Farmer Joe, Domo, and Udi. And Robert's been in this space since the beginning here. So I don't know, Adam, I'd love to know your take, right? We worked with Robert pretty much every day for 6 months or so, 8 months or so, before, from February to like July, before we started our migration. What's your thoughts on, you know, the launch, you know, and the platform and everything that we just went over?
He's ruthless. I'll give you that. He's ruthless, you know, which, look, hey man, if you're investing money, investing in ruthless people isn't necessarily the worst strategy, right? So if he has a big dream of beating out Magic Eden, like, I'd give him actually a realistic shot, because I know he will literally cut anybody's throat who gets in his way. So in some ways, those are the best people to put your money with, right? You know, it's a significant challenge. Obviously, they're a smaller team. Their main thing is going to be marketing. Can he market at this? And you know, he, as opposed to kind of Benny, we've shown he can get traction. He can get traction on the timeline. He can cause controversy. He can, you know, move people to do things. They did it with punks and whatever. I mean, he can move people. So, you know, they have a good shot, dude. You know, they have a good shot at taking down Magic Eden. I mean, look, it's day one, right? It's 1,000 miles to go in this race. But as a big time underdog, I wouldn't necessarily bet against him. Like, he's got a good shot, because we know the type of person he is, and those type of people can win, you know, can take down big dogs. So yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I'm going to bring this point up because we saw this happen with OpenSea last cycle, where once we see Magic Eden's now expanded to, I think, 8 chains. I saw a post this morning. They want to be on 15 chains by the end of the year. Yep. This happened to OpenSea, but instead of different blockchains, it was different types of NFT types, right? Where once OpenSea grew too big, these NFT marketplaces become something similar to like a Walmart, where it's very generalized approach. And some of these in 2021, some of these communities, right, like the photography community, the art NFTs, the metaverse, right, all these things, the ENS community, they need specific, they need specific tooling. And so what happens then is these you call them compartment stores, like this is where Magic Eden's doing now with protocols. They get unbundled really quickly, and so these teams start coming after specific areas of it. I mean, hell, Adam and I joined Emblem Vault because we wanted to build a historical NFT marketplace. We saw the same thing, that OpenSea couldn't satisfy the historical NFT community because there was a lot of these different things that needed to be done. And so we approached a few teams and ended up at Emblem Vault, and ultimately, right, realized it was much bigger than a historical NFT marketplace. But you saw this with art NFT marketplaces try to do this against OpenSea. Ultimately, they all failed, unfortunately, to show, but ENS, like ENS Vision, has had a lot of success unbundling ENS from OpenSea. And this kind of shows me that this is now starting to take place, where people are going to start trying to compete against Magic Eden for their Bitcoin marketplace or their Bera marketplace, or, Solana marketplace, etc. So, some of those they probably will lose market share to, but depends on who at this point in time.
It's interesting because like with these guys here and the one we had on last week, both of those were kind of going after what they were deeming the pro traders, right? Who want a pro trading experience. But Bitcoin is like this slow, the trading experience is super slow and bad, right? I mean, they can only make it a little bit better. It's still slow, right? It's almost like, are people really going to get on there and be like trading, like you're trading Solana, like Solana meme coins and stuff? Like, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm not saying it won't, but it seems a little bit unlikely to me, just because of the clunky, slow nature of it. But I could be wrong, but it just feels that way. Like this is maybe the wrong market to focus on.
Slow fi, as they are calling it. Dogfather, what's your thoughts on Satflow?
Man, it's definitely a strong team, strong backers. But I mean, OKX also doesn't charge any fees. Mintify started with a really slick UX, UI. It's super hard. We have, all these marketplaces, and at the end, it's still Magic Eden dominating the space. I'm not saying they can't be beaten, but I'm just saying they're also shipping like crazy. They have their token launching soon. I think many people rather farm there and pay a bit of fees rather than trying a new marketplace. But let's see. I mean, I haven't seen much on the timeline from their side, but they will definitely ramp up marketing.
Yeah, I have to say, from now personal experience of building Emblem markets, and even offering 0% marketplace fees, it is incredibly tough to change market behavior of people once they choose a centralized exchange or a DEX or an NFT marketplace. Those users are locked in for usually forever, unless there's something that's drastically wrong. Like, I still find myself on OpenSea at times, and I don't even use it really. Like, it's just like, that's like kind of the habit of going there to check for things because of the slick interface or the familiarity or whatever it is.
Totally.
But the battle is definitely needed, because it's beneficial to the users at the end of the day, right? You're competing to lower fees, or you're competing to improve the UX, or right, whatever it is. So it's a net benefit for the users. Chris, I know you trade as well. What's your thoughts on the now competition of Satflow, maybe some of these other trader specific Bitcoin marketplaces against Magic Eden? You think they could pull it off?
It's definitely going to be tough. Magic Eden's moving at pretty high speed, and they have really great products, huge community. Their team is massive. It's tough, but competition keeps everyone honest in the space. Keeps innovation moving in the right direction. And I'm not sure who's going to win here, but I think it's better for the users that everyone competes for it, right? So the users win in the end. It's interesting to watch their approach, but yeah, we'll kind of see how it plays out. I think Magic Eden's doing a great job, and I think it's kind of tough to compete with them.
They have experience and a very large team and a lot of capital. I was looking at, forget what there's an NFT site, NFT Pulse, I think it is, NFTpulse.com. It shows the revenue in Magic Eden had made $58 million in revenue this year. Obviously, they have expenses, but that was just from the fees.
Substantial. It's incredible. I saw that same number. I was like, wow. But then we know they have like a team of like whatever, 300 people.
Yeah.
that 50 million is accounted for, right? It's like that, you know, you get devs at $250,000 a year, so it's all of a sudden that's not that much money. You know, it's funny when you have a big business like that and you have tremendous revenue like that, how quickly you can burn through that, and how quickly that disappears. Yeah, it's interesting, but this is different than, it's different in that I think people learn from the OpenSea model in 21 and are much quicker coming in to really try and take Magic Eden's lunch here. So it's gonna be fun to watch for sure, man.
I've kind of gone like all over the place with Magic Eden. I mean, I was an extremely early user, probably like one of the first 10 or 20,000 or something like that. Loved them, hated them, loved them, hated them. And it just kind of, the truth is that they've been building for a long time. They have the stamina, they have kind of the flexibility to, you know, pivot and move quick. And, you know, that's really learned over time to kind of get in that rhythm. They've failed publicly, they've won publicly. So they've really gone through the full cycle. So once you kind of, you know, have that experience and kind of history and you're kind of really in your groove, it's really difficult to disrupt. So
totally,
it's going to be tough.
Have you, from a user perspective, like, was the amount you were rewarded in whatever diamonds or whatever, was that like, did you feel like that was a good reward for you since you were an early?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing about Solana early was that it was the same playbook from Ethereum. So it was pretty easy to farm pretty much all of these protocols. There wasn't a ton to do on chain. And so, you know, I always had that in the back of the mind. So I think, you know, I'm pretty happy with it. It did seem, I know that there's like a lot of controversy regarding the allocation between the early Solana users and the Bitcoin users. Everyone, you know how people are. Everyone assumes that the other group got more allocation than your personal group. But it did seem like the Bitcoin diamond drop was bigger than the Solana drop. So that's anecdotally, but I think that that's in line with their business model. They're claiming that that's not the case, but you know, I mean, obviously, we think that a lot of the, you know, dollars are going to go into the Bitcoin ecosystem, and so focusing on that early group is a pretty good strategy, leaning into it. So I think that it's pretty clear what they did.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I saw Angel in the crowd. He just left. Literally, the next portion was from him.
Maybe we get Dan up here. I don't know.
Yeah. So last night, it looked like the first atomic swap happened on Counterparty between Joe Looney and who is this? One of the guys from Universal, who also is where Angel works as well. Joe initiated a PSBT swap for Groff, it looks like, which was one of his. It's a supply of one. It's just a token, one of one token, it looks like, that was issued on Counterparty in 2022, and looks like Angel signed it on the other side. I have here pulled up xcp.io, which is what is Dan's website. So it shows here the UTXO moved, right? So that's valid. I was trying to look at this earlier. The credit is 1 Gorf to, I'm assuming this is Angel's wallet, and then the debit, I guess, is the cost. So I can't. But this says it's minus 0.001 Gorf. So I don't know. My question was like, what is swapped on the other side? Was it was this Bitcoin that was swapped? Was it just free, where you just made it kind of a free transaction? Maybe that's what that is down there. Or was it XCP that was used on the other side of it? I don't really know. I can't really tell from the block, but either way, right? That's the first one for decentralized trading on Counterparty. I know the protocol. Oh, here. So Mike asks the question. He says, why does one link say Gorf and then the other one says Gorf? And he says, I don't know. Maybe they know how to do atomic swaps. I don't know how to share the proper links. And then Christian Moss, actually, who created Saratobi, said that they actually did the same thing in 2017, but nobody used it.
Now that sounds about right, man. That sounds about right.
Yeah, he said we did a crude one back in 2017. He even built a wallet and no one used it.
Nobody wanted it back then. They preferred dispensers. You know, it's so funny, dude. It's so funny, man.
Dan, would you love to explain the atomic swap, if you know how to, or what happened there?
I think it's just a partially signed Bitcoin transaction. I think it was just like Bitcoin for Gore. The atomic swaps, like, it's fine. I think for me, the whole thing is like, it's just one more thing for Counter to be like, yeah, we could do that, but I don't think it's going to become the main thing. It's just like to get rid of an objection mainly. If I look at like the stats, like people have attached their counterparty to a UTXO 9 times total so far. So it's like a nothing burger. It's like a blip and nothing. I don't even know if it's worth talking about.
It's cool, right? I guess the idea of it is that people want Magic Eden to support it, to trade and do all these things. The more successful thing was that you basically broke Counterparty through the mints. I was reading the Telegram, the Horizon Telegram, which is the Horizon wallet, and everyone's complaining how these wallets can infinitely mint as much as possible, and it like broke the APIs and stuff. Would you love to just give us a explanation of what's going on over there?
Yeah, so the Counterparty founders have been improving the code base of Counterparty for the last 6, 7, 8 months. And all the changes they've been making to date have been just sort of like updating software, improving like the foundation. And then this release was the first set of new features to the protocol. And they definitely like fumbled the launch. A lot of things went wrong. When the block activated, I launched Open Mint, and not shockingly, people tried to mint it. There's 100,000 transactions to mint out, and basically the Counterparty code was taking like, Joe Looney told me this. I didn't test this myself, but he was saying it takes like 3 seconds for every mint to get like validated. So it was just like smashing the ability of the node to stay up to date. Basically, a bunch of things went wrong.
Yeah,
they've resolved them now. They've made like a lot of improvements since, but it's not what you want to see. It's not like the ideal situation, but hopefully this is like a learning experience for the founders. They talked a lot of smack. They were like, "Oh, we're going to bring professional development to Counterparty." It's been so amateur hour. And then they launched their new features, and it was kind of a shit show. So hopefully that's
a little humbling.
Yeah, hopefully some humble pie was served, but I imagine not.
Yeah, they have been. Adam's been a little confident, which I think you need for return. I mean, it was gone for 8 years, which is pretty wild. It's unfortunate that everything broke, but glad that you at least stress tested to see where the limitation is. In the Telegram chat that I was reading, there was suggestions of like limiting 1,000 transactions per wallet, or putting X amount of transactions per block that's limited. So it looks like they're trying to figure it out. Ultimately, I think if you put a limit, that honestly probably kills a lot of the momentum, because I don't think degens are going to want to wait around or want to be limited for what's quote unquote a fair mint. Do you have any suggestions or any thoughts, as you've been in the you deployed the mints, and you participated? Do you hear anything from the community, or what do you think is like the right path to fix it?
Well, I think a lot of it technically is fixed. I think mostly when you put in limits, like the limiting factor is Bitcoin itself anyways. So like there already is like a sort of a gravity to Bitcoin transaction fees and demand that always kind of like puts in a limit when there's a spike. So don't worry too much about stuff like that. What I've been thinking about is like, some of these new improvements and features and changes, it's like a psyop to make other Bitcoin Meta Protocol enjoyers just like see Counterparty. It's like it's so funny how people even if you know about Counterparty, it's like just like red hair stepchild or whatever.
Totally.
But then you have people who are like on year one of a rune and they're like, this is gonna be so Lindy. And it's like, well, if your thing is gonna be so Lindy, like look at Counterparty. Like really, like if your thesis is that the longer this thing exists, the more people will care about it. Like I got a news flash for you. It's just very interesting how these things go. And lately, I think what I'm thinking a lot about is like with Counterparty, I think it's such a gem. I think it's so irreplicable. It's been this underground cultural sort of like technology. So many important things have been built on it. There's like a real cool group of people that just meme around on it. And we've seen so many cycles that I think for the future of Counterparty, I think the move is just to like pull our own bootstraps up kind of thing where like if you're a Counterparty artist, like own like 1 XEP or 10 XEP. I think I was doing the research, there's like 1,500 artists that have published on Counterparty. There's, over 120,000 like NFTs that have been issued on Counterparty. Hundreds of thousands of wallets own Counterparty assets. So it's like, I just think these upgrades are good. I think they give us new features and things like that. I think largely it's an attempt at a psyop of the other Bitcoin Meta Protocol enjoyers. But I do think the Counterparty community just needs to like double down on itself a little bit.
Totally. I mean, I think we all, well, at least us on the stage here or on the show live streaming, agree that, there was a fumbling of the bag, by the way, J-Dog, and not shitting on J-Dog, but the way he basically killed SRC20s, the way those got labeled as scam or, spamming the network was really counterproductive for Counterparties. So it feels like this is like round 2 of that. And the majority, including the, core devs, are behind doing this. So it feels like maybe a second chance, missed opportunity with SRC20s, I think, to a large extent. But this is like, Counterparty gets a second chance to kind of run it back and maybe do it right this time.
Yeah, I agree as well. Learning experience. I saw in the chat that Adam had said that there's going to be some business models that are going to be attached to implemented into Counterparty regarding different types of fee structures and things like that. So it makes me curious to see how that's going to evolve. But ultimately, I think Counterparty will find some success. It just depends on what it is. Just like this conversation, right? Runes right now is all Runes is mostly meme coins. It seems like Tap is moving into, utility. Counterparty was historical. It does have that historical value of, $500 million, but kind of what's next is the big question. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the cool thing of Counterparty is that you can mint a token and then you have basically the option to attach it to a PSBT and access Bitcoin liquidity, or you can just use Emblem Vault and go dabble around with Ethereum liquidity. So that's really out of the box. And the Counterparty community has more experience moving cross-chain and, attacking friction in different areas than any other NFT community, in my opinion. So I think the community will figure it out at some point.
Yeah, the big difference with Counterparty versus everything else is I'm going to call it asset management. What you can do as somebody who's issued something is like a lot greater. You have a lot more flexibility, and you can sort of like manage your ecosystem better versus like make one transaction and then for the rest of the time that's like, you did that. That was like that one event in time. And then with the business models, I think the main one you're referring to is like, I think what the developers see for Counterparty is like basically like block creators basically. So right now we rely on Bitcoin miners to mine our transactions and for their transaction ordering. With the sort of op false method that ordinals and inscriptions use. Well, inscriptions, what they use. You could imagine somebody who takes privately a number of counterparty transactions and then inscribes them in a transaction using that method. So maybe they have like 100 or 200 or 300 transactions that they inscribe, and they get maybe a fee for that. And it probably also introduces like MEV, because you could order the transactions.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. We're going to continue to follow and support as much as possible. We do have NFTFi on stage, who's a big stamps and counterparty person. Have you dabbled in Counterparty 2.0, or what's your thoughts on the upgrade over the past week?
Man, I'm still positive. I'm still excited about it. I'm still hoping that we do see Magic Eden really look into it, Gamma really look into it, hoping Xverse adds stamps. And honestly, I mean, I'm speaking as an artist, so I can't get into any of the technical stuff. But like I said, I'm still positive. The ball's in their court. So if they're interested in adding counterparty assets and stamps and tapping into some of that liquidity, I mean, the rare Pepe liquidity isn't nothing. I mean, come on. There's some liquidity there. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of culture there. So it's really the ball's in their court on whether or not they want to add stamps and just add more options. So I'm going to remain positive. I know there's been some hiccups. I'm not messing around with that shit because I don't understand the technical side of it fully. So as soon as we can add those UTXOs, as soon as we have, we're able to take advantage of those 2.0 upgrades, then I'll definitely be there promoting it, using it, playing with it, seeing what I can do to help other artists become more familiar with the 2.0 upgrades.
Word of advice to my counterparty friends would be to reach out to Satflow and try to get on board there, because you can bring him what he really wants, which is attention. He recognizes that you guys are live and vibrant on the timeline. We'll be able to bring a lot of attention to him. That's what he needs right now. And if you guys reached out and kind of pushed for that, I think you probably get traction on there. And then magically Eden will be kind of, once they see volume, they'll be forced to follow up. So word of advice there.
Yeah, whale games or marketplace wars, I guess. Right? That's kind of always how it is. It's once you see one thing support it. I'm really surprised that OpenSea never added ordinal support, like after all that traction. Maybe it is in their OpenSea 2.0 kind of build out that they're still doing. But who knows? I was really surprised by that.
OpenSea 2 slow, bro.
I mean, we have a private chat with them, Emblem Valtez, and they did say that they were still building it. So whatever that looks like, I don't know. I hope it fucking. I hope it changes the game.
To Chris's point, it's like you see that Magic Eden can still move, right? They're not such a dinosaur that they literally can't move on new stuff, and OpenSea is a dinosaur. They literally, if you gave them the best idea ever that was going to actually save their business model, they would not be able to pull it off. They couldn't do it. That's why they have to acquire people who are doing it. And so Magic Eden still has that kind of, flexibility of good founders who are still in charge. And it's just lunch eating time.
What's up, NFTFi?
And man, the other thing I want to see is some of these, like Magic Eden, for example, support like multiple protocols, and not just runes and ordinals and just, the one protocol. I want to see them support the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. Because it's like, what it makes me think about is like, it makes me think about that time I lost billions of dollars going all in on AOL.com. And then the millions of dollars, and then the millions I lost on pets.com. And then I was down to like the last of my funds, and I went all in on Blockbuster, and I fucking lost everything. It sucks. No, but I mean, seriously, it's like, realistically, you go out on the streets, nobody knows what the fuck a rune is. Nobody knows what stamps are. Most don't even know what cryptos are, maybe just Bitcoin. So it's like, we're so early in all of this that I hope to see some of these bigger players support the entire Bitcoin ecosystem and not just one protocol. You know, look at OpenSea. They were tough, man. They were hard to get to get them to expand, and they never released their token. So maybe they fucked up on that. I don't know. But where are they now? Like Magic Eating is kicking ass now, and OpenSea sucks. You know, so things can change quickly, man. These cycles come through every 4 years, and the major players change. But those that are going to stick around, it's like, I think supporting an entire ecosystem as opposed to just one fucking protocol is the way to go. And if you don't, then good luck. You know, maybe the AOL.com plays out for you. Maybe it becomes Google.com. I don't know. But it's like, I'd rather see an entire ecosystem supported. That way we can try to get the word out, try to get new users in together, rather than just fighting the next protocol. And then, you know, the bullshit that has always played out in crypto with my coin, my token's better than your token. And then you separate the communities, and then the cycle plays out just the way it did from the previous. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it.
That's an experienced take, I must say. What's up, Talk Ollie?
Yeah, I think it's completely far-fetched to think about Magic Eden supporting Counterparty, but there are plenty of marketplaces, and I would not be surprised if some new projects will, try it out. I mean, because then it will be the first in that segment, and then they have some USPs. If you just have let's say the 31st marketplace doing the same thing, but just without liquidity. Nobody cares, right? So to all the builders out there, just do it. I mean, you will be the first. Try to get into the BTC Startup Lab if you need funding. They have a great accelerator. They have great, support for founders, and they also have very good network of angels and VC investors. And then maybe you make it.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice, I have to say. We do know Shaban is attempting to build one. I've seen him tease the Counterparty market. I think that's what the actual marketplace is called. Can he pull it off is a big question, right? He definitely has the, the credibility in the community. Now he just needs the team and the builder capacity. So be excited. I think overall Counterparty will be fine in the long term. I mean, there's just so much value that sits there that people will figure out how to monetize it. So with that, I think we're going to wrap.
Give a quick shout out to Dan for dashboards. The dashboards are epic. I was on it last night. Dan created the Emblem Vault Dune dashboard, so you can kind of track all of our assets moving around, volumes, etc. I was actually on it last night, and our new V2 curated collections actually just passed $10 million in volume.
Nice.
So massive news. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you, man. Those are super awesome.
Yeah, absolutely crush it. 10 mil. Yeah. It's been a grind, I have to say, right? After having 150 mil on the legacy collection. But a lot more to come, a lot more exciting things as we expand. That means next Thursday we have our town hall, which will have some very important information. Actually, the next 3 town halls, I think, which we do the last Thursday of every month. We'll have a lot of very important information about the future of Emblem Vault and what's really happening. Tomorrow on the show, we're hosting Graham, who just launched Televault, which is the protocol for taking UTXO-based digital assets to Ethereum and then eventually to other chains as well as Emblem deploys on them. Big success so far, over 1 million in TVL in just 5 days. Definitely got to work on getting that LP up so that we can. I'm trying to arbitrage trade. I can't do it because there's not enough LP in the pool. So once we figure that out, I think you're going to see a lot more efficient market. But just incredibly excited, right? 1 million to the TVL. This sets up a pretty good blueprint for things like Pepe Cash or XCP, Stamp for SRC20, Runes, BRC20, XYZ protocol that wants to go to Ethereum. That's a UTXO. Nook from Bells, right? The Doginals, DRC20, or Dunes, or Litecoin ordinals, which no one uses, but it exists. All of that stuff, we can use through Televault. That's the focus, right? It's a UTX. It supports, obviously, you can do fungible tokens, like you could do Ethereum and stuff like that as well. but the focus is UTXO based chains because there's no multi-sig component to it. You're using vaults that basically are deposited into the bridge, the Telvault bridge, which then spits out the tokens on the other side. A lot of upgrades coming there. Graham has some new information to share tomorrow. I guess we get to recap and review, I think he was building this for what, 3 or 4 months, maybe?
Totally. Yep.
3 or 4 months, and then tokenomics will come on top of it, and obviously we have to improve in a handful of areas, but didn't break $1 million in TVL, and there's a very successful proof of concept of getting these UTXO assets over to the largest liquidity pool, or largest DeFi liquidity pool that exists in the industry. So I'm excited for that conversation tomorrow. And if you guys enjoyed the conversation, make sure that you follow Emblem Vault for all of the cool updates and these cool conversations that we host Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Always feel free to reach out to us if you have any topics that you want to cover, if you know anybody that you would like to bring on to the show. We cover everything from, the entire Bitcoin ecosystem to cross-chain and to inscriptions. Until then, we'll be back here tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Enjoy your Wednesday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Later.